Good afternoon and welcome to the November edition of the Manager's Town Hall Meeting Virtual Edition Part 3. In this section, we'll go over some rules reminders, some pretty basic stuff, but it's some things that seem to far too often get ignored. A little brief activities updates, and then probably the most important thing in this is some personal thanks that I wanted to provide. First off, some rules reminders, and these are gentle reminders, but they're important. They keep us all safe, and they help us to all get a fair shake here in the resort. First off, and I talked a little bit about this earlier, do not park on empty lots. Sometimes it might be convenient, sometimes it might be necessity because of construction that's been done on your house. But the reality is it's not fair to all the people that are parking on their own property if you're parking on a spare lot because it's easier or something has taken place. Now I will tell you, if you there are a very small number of units that were improperly set on lots and they don't have parking space. So there have been a couple of exemptions made, but 99.9% are not to take place. Now I'll also tell you that this is 100% for everybody. If I'm not pointing out anyone in particular, I'm focusing on all. So as an example, I have one of my employees who lives here on the boulevard. He is renting the lot next to him, and what we're willing to do in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, if it's a value lot, and that's where the majority of this is taking place, you can rent that lot as a storage lot for $30 a month, and then you can park your car there. But you can't park your car there unless you're renting that lot. And if you're in a section of standard or premium lots, then I can't rent you that lot regardless. You have to park on your lot. And if there's an issue around that, you need to come see me because this is just the only fair way to do it. It's not fair for anyone to extend their unit beyond what allows them parking. So please, if you're parking on another lot and you can get on your lot, do that. If you want to rent that lot next door, come see me and we'll see if we can do that. I don't want to create hardship for people, but it's become an epidemic. Every other lot has a car or a truck parked on it, and we just can't have that. Do not put for sale signs in your yard. It has always been a rule that you are allowed one and one only for sale sign on your house, and it has to be on the building. Our real estate agents, all of them, and I'm not just talking about Wintertex and Home Sales, the other ones that are allowed to come in here, all know about this. Every real estate sign is on the house. So it's completely unfair for you to put up a for sale by owner sign out in your yard. Imagine there's about 90 properties for sale in the resort, which is not an exorbitant number for the size of the resort, but it is a significant number. Now imagine looking down any one of our streets and seeing all of these for sale signs sitting out by the curb. It's horrible. It's just a negative for the overall aesthetics of the resort, and it sends the wrong message to potential new renters. It makes it look like everything's for sale. Our lots are not very big, so there's not a lot of space between them. And if you have, even if it was every other lot or every third lot, 3 of our lots isn't quite equivalent to one home lot in a standard stick-built home community. So imagine that if only every third lot on your street had a sign, it would look like every single house in a stick-built community was for sale. That's not what it is, and so we all just have to play fair. I've said in this whole town hall meeting a lot of play fair, but that's really what it's about, and I'm appealing to your ability to understand that the rules are to make it equal for everyone. Do not sweep or blow yard waste into the street. Now that I'm running the street sweeper, I can tell you that there are some offenders. I've been told that in at least one case, there is a yard contractor who comes in here to mow and blows everything into the street. I mean, come on, seriously. It looks horrible while it's there, and even if I'm coming that same day with the street sweeper, it looks horrible until I get there. Remember that I can't street sweep when it's raining. The street sweeper now sucks so much that it dries the street behind me and fills the entire back end full of water. And it does it pretty quick. So I can't run it when it's raining. So what happens? You blow your grass out into the street or your leaves or whatever, and the rains come, it washes into the gutter, goes to the nearest driveway ramp, clogs it up, and then backs stuff up, and it could potentially cause a flood. Now, I haven't seen this happen, but what if that backed up such that it went into somebody's house? That would be a nasty, nasty thing. So please, if it's easiest for you to blow your driveway and your sidewalk into the street and then sweep it up, no issue. That's fine. Please, feel free to do that. Nobody will yell at you about that. But you can't just blow it out there and leave it and, let people drive over it. There's at least one lot where there was so much grass in the street when I came through to sweep it that it was packed into clumps on the street. I mean, it was horrible. And it's just not the right thing to do, and it's not within our rules. But I do want you to sweep up your yard rocks. If you've chosen to have a rocked yard, and by the way, we no longer allow those because there's been so much issue, you have to remember that the street sweeper can't pick up those yards. In effect, what happens is when I come down with those brushes spinning, it throws those rocks all over the place. Some of them go down to your neighbor's yard. Some of them probably go back into your yard. They go out into the street. It makes a horrible mess. You're responsible for those rocks if your yard is rocked. It's not a huge effort to just go out there and sweep those back into your yard or scoop them back into your yard or whatever. I'll sweep the gutters with the truck to get the dirt and whatever else is there, but I can't have the rocks there. Right now, if you have yard rocks out there, I'm starting to bypass those because I can't do it, which means your yard is going to look worse than anybody in the neighborhood. Please, just go out there and scoop those yard rocks back into your yard, and everything will be fine. Remember that there's a 72-hour specified maximum for parking your RV in the street. And there's a number of reasons for this. Our streets are not for parking in any case. Yes, we allow you to park in the streets when you are having an activity or a party or something like that. We're not trying to be ridiculous about this, but it is an issue when your RV is in the street for a long period of time. At the same time, I'm an RVer. I know you have to bring your RV over to load it up, to empty it out, sometimes to clean it, but this is 3 full days that you have within the rules. And I'll even take that a step further. If there's something going on with your RV or some real requirement to keep it an extra day, come see me. Our security teams do patrols at night, and they report any of them that have been in the street too long and things. This way I'll know. I'll expect yours to be there an extra day or, whatever the issue is. I'll even go so far as to say if you're in the a section of the community where next door to your house is a lot where you might be able to pull it off the street, I'll work with you on that, but only for the purpose of loading and unloading and cleaning. That's the only way we can get away with this. There's a lot of things that you can do on your storage lot. If you're keeping your RV here, remember you have a full concrete pad, you have electricity, and you have water. You can wash your site there. Or your RV there. You can keep your batteries charged there. There's an awful lot that you can do without having to move it in front of your house. I know, I'm perhaps younger than some, and maybe do things a little differently, but I can tell you that 2 or 3 hours is what it takes for me to load or unload. I don't clean it in front of my house. I pull mine up there, and my wife and I unload everything, and then I immediately take it and park it. Same thing when we're loading. We carry the majority of our stuff in either our golf cart or our Jeep over to where the RV's parked and load it there. And there's some things that's not convenient for. I understand that. So we pull the RV up, and in a matter of a couple hours, we've got the rest of it loaded and we're ready to go. Secondarily, it's against the rules to put your leveling jacks down in the street. It creates divots in the street that quickly become potholes. If you have to put it down because of, I know that RV refrigerators have to be within so much level, and if you can't get at that level, there's two things that you can do. You can either drive that side of the wheels up onto blocks like we all used to do when we had camping trailers, or if you absolutely have to put down those jacks, put a sizable pad under it so that it doesn't dig into the asphalt. If you do these things, it'll help keep our streets. I know that you don't want a pothole in front of your house, and we don't want to have to fix one in front of your house. So please work with us on this and make it fair for everybody. And by the way, while you can plug in your RV in front of your house to keep your batteries charged, at no time can you have occupancy of that RV. In other words, you can't have your family come down, your kids come down, park the RV in front of the house, plug it in, and let them sleep there. That's absolutely taboo and against everything that the resort rules say. So please, work with us here. It's a great opportunity to have streets wide enough and well maintained that we can put our RVs in the street like that. Let's not abuse that. I appreciate that. And that's it. No, it's not. See that? I got confused. I was getting activities updates. I'm just getting started on phase 3. I want you to know, just as a little caveat, I've done this 3 times. It's taken an hour and a half at least each time, and then I have to compile them and all of that. Long story short, I worked for 4 hours yesterday after the meeting, and I've worked all day today, Friday, on this to get these recordings done. It sounds like it should be simple. It's never as simple as it should be, so I apologize for the little mistakes. Anyway, activities updates. First off, we're having dances right now. Yes, in November. We wanted to give it a try because we had people tell us, we get back early and there's nothing to do. So we've had activities going on. We're doing a country dance on Tuesday. We're doing a more general dance on Thursday. And it's important that if we want these, that we support them. Now, let me be clear what I'm saying there. No harm, no foul if you say you don't want them. And you can either vote that verbally by talking to the activities office, or you can vote that by just not showing up. And we'll get the message, and next year we won't have them. But if you do want these, we need your help to support them. I'll tell you flat out that we had a country dance last Tuesday where there were 7 people. And who really suffers? We don't suffer. I mean, yeah, we did a lot of work. In fact, I personally mopped the ballroom floor. So, yes, I can do that. But the one who really suffers is the entertainer, who goes through all of the trouble of coming out and setting up, and he played. He didn't want to cancel. He played, for those 7 people, and gave them a show, and he was actually very good. But so my only concern here is to make sure that you're aware that we're having dances now, and if you like that, try your best to support them. If you don't like them, that's okay. We just won't book them for next year. All our concert tickets are on sale, and they have opened to the public. So, real important, if you want tickets, remember there's 10 resorts in the Rio Grande Valley. Only 3 of them are getting all of the concerts, and I believe there's 2 others that are getting some of the concerts. What that means is the other park people are going to be coming to other resorts, the ones that are getting them. And when you look around, it's real obvious that people want to be at Victoria Palms. They can come here, they can have dinner at the restaurant, they can do the concert. It's a beautiful facility. We have wonderful concessions. We're the only one in the valley with a margarita machine. So there's a lot going on here, and our tickets are going to sell out. I just have no doubt whatsoever. And so if you haven't gotten your tickets, please call Activities if you're not here and get them booked. The last thing I want is to have outsiders sitting in seats while my residents can't, because we sold out. So if you're not interested in them, I'm not trying to twist your arm and say you got to buy them. I'm just saying that if you really want to come see them, and I think we have a great lineup, please call Activities and get your tickets. They're selling like crazy. We've got people lined up at the ticket counter, it seems like, every day. And by the way, our contract with the Redhead Express is that we're going to do a multi-part full page ad in all of the local papers. And, I've said this over and over. You're probably tired of hearing it, but they are a hot topic, and I'm pretty sure that they will sell out. Now, on the good side, they did offer to us, if we sell out and we can sell more tickets, that they might be willing to do a matinee performance. But again, it's not quite the same. That means that some subset of our residents would be in a matinee, while the majority of them would be in the evening concert, and I don't want that. Anyway, so if you have any interest, please call Activities. They can take your credit card right over the phone. They'll assign you by seat. They can send you a seat map. They can do everything to make it as amiable for you as possible, and they'll lock those tickets away until you get here, and everything will be good. New Year's Eve, there was a situation where we were following past protocol, and when somebody brought it to our attention, we agreed that it was not a good protocol. So in the past, major event tickets, such as New Year's Eve, because there are limits on them, went on sale as early as possible, and then starting some predetermined date, in this case October 1st, the price went up. The idea was not penalizing people who bought late, it was discounting for people who bought early. It's like our early bird reservations for RV sites. Buy it now, it's only $20. Buy it and wait till you come back in October, it's $25. We tried to very clearly communicate that. But when it was expressed to me very personally that as residents they didn't feel that this was fair, I couldn't deny it. I agree. Outside people, yes, that policy is still going to play. They're going to pay more than you do as a resident. But since a number of tickets have been sold since October, if you, as a resident, paid $25 for your New Year's Eve tickets, call the Activities office or stop by the Activities office, and they will present you with a $5 voucher that is usable against any other concert or dance ticket. I wish we could just give you the $5 back, but the way the processing takes place in our accounting, I don't have a way to do that. So we've come up with this thing that will, you know, get that value back in your hands. Now, this doesn't apply for tickets that you purchased for outsiders. This is only for residents, and the key here is we want to make sure that that $20 ticket is all a resident paid. So stop by, they'll take care of you. Yard of the Month. We're instituting a program where we're going to give cash awards for Yard of the Month. The first one will be announced on the 15th of December, and we'll do it December, January, February, and March. And this is a contest by registration, and by that I mean we aren't going to go out into the community and try to find the best yard. If you're interested in participating, you submit an entry and you will be part of the judging. Secondarily, don't be panicked if you have a neighbor or know someone that has the most incredible yard, because we're only going to allow an individual to win one time. So, you know, they will be out of the running if they win the first time. They're out of the running for the rest of the season. In this case, there will only be one winner per month. That winner will receive a $50 gift card, and they will also get a proudly displayed sign in their front yard saying that they, in fact, are the Yard of the Month. We will also provide some additional help. We're trying to put together kind of a green up program, and the idea behind that is to help you understand what things grow best here. Maybe you've got a problem with a shrub or a plant that's in your yard. Maybe we can help you identify how to correct that. So there's a lot going into this, but I thought it was kind of neat that we're instituting the Yard of the Month, and that'll start in December. Also, we're doing something very similar for Best Christmas Decorations. This is a little different because it's only happening once. It will also be announced on December 15th, or the judging will take place on December 15th. Again, it is by entry, so you enter and you will become part of the properties that are judged. We will have 3 prizes for this, first, second, and third place prizes, and we will provide a list of all of the entrants. We'll post them publicly so that everybody in the resort can go around and look at all of the properties that did their best to win this prize. I think it'll be really cool. You know, the idea came from my old community in Austin, Texas, and they did something like this. And the coolest thing, I never entered to win because my neighbors were nutso, and you know there was no way I was going to win. But what was cool was going around afterward. My wife and I would take a glass of a beverage on a cool evening and walk around and make sure that we saw every one of those units that was entered. And it's just incredible. And so, yes, it's the contest thing, but it's also a value for everybody in the resort being able to go around and see these decorations. And imagine how beautiful this resort can be at Christmas. I'm just thoroughly excited about this. I'm a Christmas lover, and while I'm not very good at decorating, I can't wait to see what you can do. So that's coming as well. Now I want to get into the last slide. This will take about 10 minutes, I think, but personal thanks. I want to start this out by saying that this is about people who volunteer within the resort, and there's never enough volunteers, and that may sound weird, but it's very true. There's just a million things that are volunteer driven within a resort, and there's so many people that do such an incredible job, and I thought it was time that I started pointing them out to you. And some of them you'll know, some of them maybe you don't know what they do. And this is something that I want to continue, because these people do a lot, and they ask for nothing in return other than an occasional pat on the back. And I would like to see a lot of people patting them on the back. I can tell you that in the live meeting, as I announced these people, each of them got a resounding applause from the rest of the attendees in the meeting. I hope it helps them to feel how much the work that they do is appreciated. So I'll go through them one by one. First off, our landscape committee. 2 seasons ago, I brought forward the idea of a landscape committee, and there was a lot of discussion. There was some negativity. People said that nobody's going to do this. This idea came from the resort that I managed in Florida. And the people there got so enthusiastic about it that it was almost like a competition. And there was a specific team that managed all of the landscaping at the front entrance. There was another team that managed all of the landscaping at the activity center. There was another team that managed the pool. And they just were there all the time. There's a lot of people that like to garden. And, it's kind of difficult on a small lot to have anything sizable, but this is a way that people can take pride in a much more visible area of the resort and actually do good that is just beautiful for everybody. Well, long story short, Claudia took up the charter and started doing this all by herself. And you've always heard about people who lead by example. She is absolutely one. She was working. I mean, it's almost comical that she can't drive out of the resort to go buy groceries without stopping 3 or 4 times to pick up weeds or to grab a piece of trash that she sees. She has done an incredible job. Now, let me say that she's not any longer doing it by herself. In fact, she has a significant group of volunteers, even to the point that they're now doing what they call work days, where she schedules a work day and all these people show up and they just completely go over an area. This week they had a work day and they did the fountain area up here by the entrance to the resort. It's beautiful. Everything is just perfect. It's trimmed. There's not a weed anyplace. They put down weed guard all through the flower beds, and they've rocked that in. We bought the weed guard and the rock to give them the tools that they need. And we have one landscape person that's on payroll, and so he can run the equipment and provide tools and things like that. And in a matter of, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, they had this done. It wasn't a big burden for anyone, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's just beautiful, and it's visible, and it makes everything look better here. My hat is off to Claudia. She's got more of these work days scheduled. They're going to do the area around the Cactus Club. If you're not here, when you get here, go look at what the Cactus Club looks like, and go look. One of the most horrible areas we had was around the tennis and pickleball courts. Even that is beautiful. It's full of flowers, and it's amazing. This has been highly successful, and it's really Claudia behind it, making it go, and my hat is off. I just couldn't say enough good. Channel 3, Tracy Smith. I don't know how many of you know Tracy. She's relatively new here. I won't drop any names, but She is the daughter of a long-term resident here, and when she came in, much like her parents, she wanted to be part of things. And she came to me and she said, I have this skill and that skill, and I'm a little computer savvy, and is there something that I could do? And of course, I jumped on that. I said, well, we have this brand new software package that we're running on Channel 3. It's better than it's ever been. It's more flexible. It's easier to use. But just like previous years, if I try to do it, I'm going to fall behind, and then information gets old or out of date, or I make mistakes, and it creates confusion, and it reduces the viability and the reliability of that tool. And she said, well, I'd love to do that. And so I took her through the training. She went home and she played with it a little bit, and almost instantly she figured it out. She started doing it. Now she is creating all of the graphics that are being used. She's doing the scroll information, and it's amazing. I look at it, because I'm not doing it now. In the past, I did it, so I knew what was going up there. Now I look at it, and I'm just amazed. It's so professional looking, and all of the data is accurate, and she puts things up when they're supposed to go up and takes them down when they're supposed to go down, and my hat is off. She thinks this is just kind of a minor thing, and it's not a big deal. I think it's incredibly huge when someone, especially a new resident, will step up and take something on like this. Hats off to Tracy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. VPRactivities.com. You probably all know Thea. If not, you should meet her. Wow, she's a genius. VPR Activities was created from the ground up by her. There was this desire to have kind of a rolling calendar kind of thing that you could go to and not have to watch Channel 3 for 45 minutes to see all of the slides, but scroll through it at whatever speed you wanted. And that was the vision of it starting. And Thea, using some shareware and some free stuff, created VPRactivities.com. And she came to me. At the time, it had a really cryptic name because it was this free version of the program. And I was just blown away, and I said, let me buy you the domain. That's what the address is called. It's called the domain, so that we can make it personal and we can get rid of that, that free stuff. And she said, well, great. Well, it didn't end there. It started out as this ability to see slides, and it blew into a complete set of information for the resort, including the thing that I talked about earlier, the suggestion slash compliance form that's out there that you can do online, and you can find people's information. You can find it just goes on, and every time I turn around, there's a new tab. Well, let me tell you the downside of all of that. Thea put so much work into this, and because of some issues in activities and some issues on my part, a lot of the flyers that were getting created had problems. So Thea stepped up and started creating the graphics. That was wonderful. So now she's built the website. She's updating the website constantly. She's building all of the graphics. Long story short, it got to a point where she didn't have a vacation last year. They come to Victoria Palms to have fun and to enjoy the community, and she kind of missed it. And at the end of the season, she said, I don't think I can do this next year. I really need to, I want to come here and enjoy. Well, so we weren't sure what to do with all of this. I tried to find other people to do it, and I really couldn't. And then when Thea came back, we kind of begged and pleaded, but with a new grasp on what we're trying to do. Um, with her not creating the graphics, with her only taking the responsibility of posting the graphics that we create. And she agreed. And so, once again, VPR Activities is a viable, wonderful tool where you can find out so much information and you can do it at your own pace. You don't have to have a TV. You do have to be a little computer savvy, but you can go to the computer room and they can open that up for you on one of the computers and you can look at everything. Again, our key here is to make sure that Thea gets time to play. But oh my goodness, do we appreciate that she picked this up again. So you see Thea around, pat her on the back and tell her how much you appreciate that she's doing this for you. Activities help. You know, we were left in kind of the lurch after some changes that took place last season. There were some people that were supportive of the old regime and don't want to play, and you know, that's a shame. But you know, I understand. Friendships, you know, are can be very strong. Anyway, we wanted to do activities for our year-round guests. That's always been an issue, and Lori did an incredible job of putting things together. The problem was we had no help. Well, Mike and Karen stepped up, and they were like Lori's taillights. They were there to do anything that was required. They helped with decorations. They helped with setup and teardown. They helped with cooking and serving. They helped with concessions. They were there for everything when there was nobody else that would help. Now, yes, they did recruit some people to come in and help them as well. In all of these cases, you know, it's very rarely one person. But I'm pointing out kind of the leader that made that happen. And in this case, Mike and Karen made the summer what it was. And I think it was pretty darn good. So if you see them around, you know, tell them how much you appreciate them as well. Concierge and Tours. Dorothy Hess. Is there anybody that doesn't know Dorothy? And if there is, it's got to be completely coincidental. She is involved in everything. She tries to attend everything. She does everything. She's one of the sharpest dressers in the resort. What an incredible lady. And she brought together a group of people that actually act as concierges here at the RV office. They also act as information specialists over at the activities office, and they do tours of the resort. So we don't have much of that this time of the year, but when it gets to be February and March, people from other resorts want to know what's all the buzz about Victoria Palms, and so every day they come in as guests and want to look around the resort. And Dorothy throws them in a golf cart and takes them on the most incredible tour, and she has literally sold numerous return guests that are coming in this year for the very first time just because she gave them such a great tour and showed such a favorable impression. Now, there's a whole team of people that work with Dorothy, but I point out Dorothy because she started it, she kind of leads it, and we appreciate all of the people that are doing it. Dorothy is pretty incredible and pretty special, so pat her on the back too. Information desk, Jerry Schumacher. You guys have known the Schumachers for, I don't know, 9-10 years they've been coming here. Jerry has this incredible heart and wants to help people. And she relishes the ability to sit out there as a volunteer. She's not on our payroll. She's a volunteer, and she puts in incredible numbers of hours helping people, providing information, and helping to sell the resort. I'm not sure there's anybody in the resort, on my staff or even a volunteer, where I get as many compliments as I do for Jerry. She just has a way. I like to tell the story that when I first came here, I met Frank and Jerry and the rest of the team just briefly. I mean, I was trying to meet everybody in the resort, so there wasn't a lot of time. I didn't even know how to get back to my RV. It was the second day I was here, and I got home about 6 p.m. that night. About 6:30, there was a knock on the door, and I was surprised. It was like, nobody knows me here. And I went to the door, and it was Jerry, and she said, "I've brought you some stuff." And so I invited her in. We sat down at the kitchen table, and she started taking me through everything about the resort, about the area, where to go shopping, where to get the cheapest gas. I mean, just everything. She had compiled all of this information just to help me get acclimated. Now, again, she's not on the payroll. There was no benefit for her doing this except that she likes to help. My hat's off to Jerry. She's got a very giving heart, and I really appreciate her being out there at the information desk. Facebook. Wow, wow, wow. Facebook stopped happening before I got here. So the last posts on our Facebook page were in 2014. And it was so bad that when we finally got around this summer to trying to, get it going again, we realized we didn't even have credentials. There was nobody here that knew how to log into it. There's a thing within Facebook that if you don't log into something for some period, I don't know how long that is, it requires you to answer a bunch of questions, those typical things. What was your mother's maiden name? What was your first dog's name? Those kind of things. Well, we found somebody that had the credentials, but they had no idea about those questions. And so even though we had the right username and password, they would not let us in. And we couldn't get anybody else to let us in either. So we literally had to start over. And we're not Facebook experts. Shirley wasn't here at the time. And so we created a site and we started putting some postings up. Actually, Lori from Activities was doing that. Well, unknowingly, I had created a people Facebook page. And they're very different from business Facebook pages, and they're not approved, actually. And so somebody realized that and updated us. So we had to start another time. We went out and created a business Facebook page, which is the one we have now, and started doing work there. So it's been a bunch of activities to get to this point. Long story short, yes, we had Lori posting a picture or a comment now and then, but that's not what drives people to your Facebook page. They want to know what's happening all the time, and they want pictures, and they want feedback, and we have to get followers and all of that. Well, in comes Shirley, and she says, I can do this, and I would like to do this, and I have a camera. And oh my goodness, if you haven't been to our Facebook page, you need to go to our Facebook page. Follow it, like it, do whatever you do on a Facebook page, but what an incredible source of information. And it's 100% Shirley. She goes to everything. She's just an incredibly fun person, and she is on it. We have an incredible Facebook presence right now. Go out there and thank Shirley on Facebook. That'd be the best way to thank her. Victoria's Voice. She wasn't at our meeting. Claudia was not. They golf on Thursday. I've complained to her about that, jokingly. But so it's very rare that they're ever at my meetings. But I did want to bring her up. When I first came here, Claudia and Cindy Campbell were doing Victoria's Voice. And of course, Cindy's not doing it anymore. It's all Claudia. But every place I've ever been, and in fact, throughout Equity Lifestyle at our resorts, there is a newsletter that is done by management. In every place I've worked, at the other parks, I was responsible for the newsletter. And it was just kind of a given. And I came in here, and here was Victoria's voice, and my first thought was, well, this is going to be complicated. But I looked at Victoria's voice and I thought, this is a great tool. And I realized how great the distribution was and how many people were reading it, and I was blown away. And so I had to get special exception, but I made the conscious decision to not try to do a company-based newsletter. It didn't make sense. You can only read so much, and especially if I'm doing these kind of things. So they do an incredible job. I mean, I'm betting that most people don't even know that about half of the summer, Claudia was sitting on a beach down in the Caribbean and never missed a Victoria's voice. They were new and fresh, and they were on time. And she was considerable distance from here, so it's so incredible what she does. And by the way, she's not doing it for me. This is not she didn't sign on to just be my surrogate. It's Victoria's voice. It's your voice. She will post anything that I want her to post from me, but that has no impact on all the other things. The majority of it either comes from you or from her, and it's a great tool. Be sure to thank Claudia for the hard work that she puts in. It takes a lot of time to do all of that editing and formatting and keep all that stuff right and get it out on time. So good job, Claudia. And my final one is Cathy Butcher. And I put it down as the advisory council, but if you know Cathy, then you probably already know that she's just driven to excel. I mean, so yes, she stepped up to be the chairperson of the advisory council. That in itself is a big enough job for anybody. Nobody needs more than that. But she also led the charge for the recycling. Now, yes, there was a team, and she brought the advisory council together around that, but she was the lead. Right now, she's doing the same thing with an initiative to try to bring composting to the resort. She's stepped up and brought the advisory council in to do this, the education on our disaster planning. One of the goals that I have is to have a true open house bash, probably late February or early March, to bring people from other resorts to see what we have. And I'm not just talking about setting up some tours. I want to have live entertainment. I want to have free food for these people. I want to give them lunch. To give you an idea where this comes from, I had an event like this at my last property, and on one day, 4-hour period, we had 600 people come through the resort, and we had live music. We brought in local attractions. The state park was there with a booth. The National Butterfly Center was there with a booth. Things like that. And we had free food. I got a bunch of volunteers. I bought pork butts, and they stayed up all night and smoked these pork butts. They had a party all night doing it. And then I had I had over 100 volunteers that stepped up, and they served the food, and they toured people, and they opened their homes so that people could see their homes. I mean, it was incredible, and I want to do that here. It would be huge to let other people see what a great place this is, and bring in some good quality, great neighbors for you that will help with things. And I just think it's an incredible opportunity. And so the reason I bring that up is I just kind of in passing mentioned it to Cathy, and she's already jumped on the bandwagon as a volunteer and sent me the first draft of a potential checklist and things that we have to address. And oh my goodness, So if you know Cathy, you know how she is. If you don't know Cathy, get to know her. Boy, she has no goal, no ulterior motive other than helping this resort. Real quality and class act. So pat her on the back as well. And there's so many more. I'll continue bringing these forward. So, please, if I don't put you at the top of the list or something, please don't feel slighted. I appreciate everybody that touches anything. And there's so many people, even the casual thing. David Doty came into my town hall meeting, and because we don't have a volunteer chair crew this year, Lori and I were doing the setups. We were moving the chairs and the tables. And he was like, well, I'll help you with that. And, even something that little is huge because he cut the amount of time that it was taking us in half. And, it's just so much appreciated. So, anything that you do, and you just have to know that it's appreciated. So please, please, please. And with that, I'm going to end this. I appreciate you. If you sat through 1, 2, or 3 sections of this, I apologize for it being so long. But in the end, I thought it only fair that the virtual meeting cover everything that the live meeting did. You got every single slide in this, and every word, thought, feeling that I had that I delivered to the people that were there in person. I know it's a long time to look at a computer screen and listen to my droning voice, but I do appreciate you listening to it, and I'll try to get shorter. I really will, but what we're trying to do here is communicate, and I think it's the most critical thing that we can do in this resort. So thank you, thank you. I appreciate you listening. Get down here, travel safe. We can't wait to see you, and just be safe on the way. Thank you.